Hi, my name is Arvolyn Hill, and I'm the coordinator of family programs at the Everett Children's Adventure Garden at the New York Botanical Gardens. Today, I want to take you through a walk through the Children's Garden and to do an activity and to help me solve a mystery that I'm trying to figure out. And that is all the leaves have fallen here in the Children's Garden as we move into winter. However, some of the trees are still green. As you can see, this tree behind me is still green. So I have a question for you. Why do certain trees in the wintertime stay green? You can pause this video and take a moment to ask yourself this question or anyone around you. Why do some trees in the winter stay green or stay green all year long? So take a moment and then we'll come back together. So I hope that you had a great conversation about why certain trees stay green all year long and in the wintertime, unlike other trees that lose their leaves and change colors in the fall and then lose their leaves. So this first tree is called a tuya tree. And if you look really closely, it has a waxy feel to it, and these are what are called scales. But here's the interesting thing, my friend, these are actually leaves, just like the leaves that you see on the ground when all of the pretty colors fall. These are leaves as well too, and this type of leaf comes from the thuya tree, is a scale, and it has a waxy coating on it, which helps it keep water inside of it so it can stay watered all throughout the winter when it may not be raining as much. I wonder why this is able to stay green. This is a pine tree, and it also is still green. However, this one has long, pointy, sharp, like needles coming out of it. You might recognize this tree during the holidays. It has pointy needles, and these are leaves too, just like the scales from the other tuya tree before on this pine tree. And there's lots of different needles all around. And so I wonder how still these are able to stay green. Why do you think these are able to stay green, just like the thuya tree that we saw before? But let's take a look at some other trees that are still green in the children's garden. Okay, here's our next tree that is still green at the children's garden, and this one is called juniper. And juniper has scales similar to the thuya tree we saw first, but what makes this one unique is that look at these blue berries, these juniper berries that cover all over the plant. So now that we know that these scales and needles are also leaves, how can that help the plant stay green all winter long? Here is another tree that's still green in our children's garden. However, this one has something that you might recognize on it. It has pine cones. Yeah, this is a pitch pine tree, and it has its pine cones on it. And pine cones are used to hold seeds. They hold seeds and then they open up and they release the seeds to grow more trees so that they are dispersed. So these trees have a special name that is called conifers. Conifers, trees with cones. Look for pine cones when you're out exploring. This is the last tree that I want to show you, my friends. This one stays green throughout the winter like our other trees. It has more of the leaves that we're used to seeing shaped, different from the needles and the scales, but they're also waxy. They have that waxy coating on the outside that helps protect it and keep the water in. But this one is really cool because it also has red berries all around. This tree is called holly. This is a holly tree. Okay, now that we've explored all of our trees in the children's garden, I bet you have some great ideas about why these special trees are still green, even though all the other trees throughout the children's garden have lost their leaves. Remember when I said that those needles and those scales were also leaves, even though they look different from the leaves you might be used to? Those are all leaves too. And so if those are leaves, they're able to produce something called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a pigment that is in leaves. And when sunlight hits the leaves and the chlorophyll, they're able to produce food for the tree to stay green and to stay alive all throughout the wintertime. And that waxy coating on the needles, those leaves and scales, helps them hold water too, so they can stay hydrated as well and stay alive. Some of them might lose some of their needles, but they won't lose all of them, and they will regrow. And so these trees are called evergreens, meaning they're always green all year long. So now we have a name for these special trees. Let's do a fun activity inside to bring some evergreens into our home. Okay, we're gonna start making our evergreen swag now. And to do this activity, you're just gonna need these materials that are on the table. You're gonna need some bendable wire. You'll need some scissors, some ribbon, and then you're gonna need some evergreen branches. And so if you have any evergreen trees outside your house or home in your neighborhood, if you have permission and with the help of an adult, you could use pruners to cut your own. However, if that's not accessible, you can also buy evergreen branches at plant shops or Christmas tree shops sell them. They're the same branches that people buy to use to make wreaths, and then you only need a few, so just a couple of them to do this activity. And then it's also fun to have a pine cone as well too. So when you have all of your materials ready, you're gonna put it on the table. And the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna arrange your evergreens on the table, and you can put it so that all of the branches are, their ends that have been cut, like this side, towards you, just like this. And it's really cool. Evergreen swags have a long history, actually. Historically, people would make them as a way to provide protection and everlasting life for their home. Throughout history, if someone had fallen ill and they weren't feeling well, people would put evergreen burrows and swags outside their door as a way to help them heal. Some of the evergreens even have their own things that they represent. So juniper, for instance, was put into a swag for protection, whereas pine was put into the swag for eager life. So they all have their different meanings historically. And now people just make evergreen swags as a way to bring a little piece of conifer, a little piece of the holidays into our home. So when you have all of your evergreens with the branches facing towards you, and you can decide which one you want on top and which you want in the back. I think because I love the way that the holly looks and the juniper, the blue of those berries and the red of the holly, I'm gonna put those ones in the front, and I'm gonna let the other ones hang out in the back. So when I have it arranged the way that I want, you're gonna take your wire. And this part could be a little bit tricky, so you might want to have someone holding the evergreens while the other person takes the wire, and you're going to wrap it really tightly all the way around the branches, just like this. And then you want to make sure, because we're going to hang this up, so you'll make a little loop in the back here. And I'm gonna take the remaining part of the wire and I'm gonna wrap it around the branches and then also secure the loop too that way. I'll just twist it like this and then I'll wrap these here. So now it has a little loop for you to be able to hang it up. And you can use a second wire to make sure that the branches are really secure and so that none of them fall out once we hang it up. Just like this. Awesome. And then I also have my cone that I want to add in as well. So I'm going to use another piece of wire and put it through the scales of the cone. And then I can wrap it around to make sure that the wire attaches the cone to the rest of the part of the branches. Just like that. There we go. Make sure that's really nice and tight. It can be a little bit tricky to do this on your own, so definitely helpful to have an adult help you. And then lastly, we're gonna take our ribbon, and this just adds a nice little holiday touch to everything. I'm gonna cut the ribbon so it's a little bit shorter because this ribbon's pretty long. And then you're gonna take your ribbon and you're gonna wrap it around where the wire was on the swag, nice and tight, and then you can tie a nice little bow to finish it off. And one thing I love about making these swags is that they smell so good. The evergreens have such a great smell to them. And there we are. You're all done. You have your evergreen swag. So you can hang it up outside as a way to bring a little piece of the holidays indoors, some evergreens, those wonderful, beautiful trees that stay green, bringing them into your home all year long, all throughout the winter. Thank you for watching.